I am currently driving to my mom's house, to the shop to take off a project that off the back of my truck that I picked up last night with my good friend Jeff in Washington. They don't make these anymore, and this is my third one on 3 different trucks in the past, 4 or 5 years. But there's a slight issue with the sizing as it is now. That's why this is going to be a project. It's issue with the size. Hey Bob, what's up dude? Hi. You think it's a little too long for my truck? Ultimately, I'm going to have to cut basically from here up to there to about there. Cut this piece off and fiberglass it back to here and create a ceiling that will also be fiberglass and reinforced. So that's my project. Here goes. Cutting a perfectly good 8-foot flip pack with a jigsaw that doesn't work. Take 2. I made the cuts right here and right here. I'm going to continue with the cuts along here and then down and here. So it'll fit my short bed F-150. It's always a good idea to go in and check to make sure you're not cutting apart anything you don't want to be cutting apart inside. This is nephew. Bye, nephew. Love you, buddy. Bye. How ridiculous this is. And I just about couldn't stop laughing just a second ago, so finally I can get back on the video. I might be really stupid for doing this, but I want to flip back on my F-150, and this seems to be the only way to do it. And voila, that's how you make an 8-foot flip pack into a 5.5-foot flip pack. Simple as that. And we're done. Not quite, but we're getting there. Day 2. Mounting. Basically, epoxy the window front of the flip pack to right here. I think my plan is to keep about 4 inches of the front of the flip pack, the window spot that I'm going to epoxy back onto the flip pack. At least 4 inches. Where is my tape measure? 4 inches to give me enough space to glue onto the side of the interior of the flip pack. Because this is all going to go inside the flip pack as it is now. Looks like the angle of the top is straighter and less bent than the angle of the middle of the camper. So this is the piece it's hitting. So I think with the front lid, it needs to be cut right here, go down right to about the very corner so I can match this up right there. And this would all be on the inside, be epoxied to the inside there. We're at a point where we've taken all of the carpet off of the top here. We're gonna sand all this down, and then ultimately we're gonna wrap this with fiberglass and wrap it around. And then ultimately I think I'm also gonna put a board right here to make a screw into the top to make a ceiling to go over to here. And now I'm also gonna make an interior ceiling that'll be a stronger ceiling because this will be a weight-bearing spot right here. We've decided to go 1 more inch back, cutting off 1 more inch, simply because for the back to be in the right alignment with the tailgate. So here we go. The window backing front of the flip pack has a curve to it, which would be really hard to make that bend, and I'd rather have it a flat curve. So I've measured 21.5 inches from the bottom all the way across. So this is going to be a flat base in which the ceiling, the new ceiling that I'll make, will sit on top of, supported by the 2x4 arch. This curve taken out. So David is sanding the inside, and we're about ready to mount on the truck to glue on back the front with the window. So we have cut a little more sections and sanded all of this, and then dried it out with a heat gun. Same with this side, to which 2x4 cuts will go right here on the inside to epoxy the pieces together. I've just fit the back window into the gap, which I will make plywood ceiling to go to here, supported by a 2x4, which that 2x4 is supported by a 2x4 that's on the interior of here. Drill holes, epoxy, close gap, fill in with Bondo, and we might have ourselves a full-size F-150 Flippac.
So what we got here is we drilled some holes in wood and then put some glue to bring the wood closer to the fiberglass body of the truck. So if you look yonder back, you can see the 2x4 bringing the body and the fiberglass close to the truck to make it form-fitting and all.
Sponsored by Crux?
Sponsored by Crux, maybe. Fermentation project, not brewery, because that's not pretentious enough. Anyways, so we got some shorter screws creating more of an anchor, and then some longer screws, which would be more of an anchor if you really think about it, like sophisticated like, I guess, going up here offset like. It's gonna make it real solid, so it's like a power bit. And then we got the glue on the outside, and we might get some on the inside. We'll see if we get crazy, I don't know.
Sanding, racing, it all starts now. Well, a little while ago. We're gonna Bondo this part. I'm sanding away all the excess oil and stuff. We're gonna be Bondoing these sides that I sanded down, screwed in, and cleaned off to make the smooth surface. For the 2x4, the main beam that supports the whole thing right here, there's a little bit of a gap right there. And what I've got for that, instead of brittle wood to act as a spacer to drill into that, I ordered these thick rubber stoppers that will be able to act as something that won't chip as I get them in there. So I'm going to shave them down to the right length, put it in there, and then screw it in, and that'll work better. Well, I totally forgot to record the whole Bondo process. Whoops, sorry. Basically put layers on there, a couple different layers, let them dry, a couple different layers, let them dry, fill in all the gaps, bond all the creases, all the match points, and then I'm going to take a palm sander to it, flush it all out. Getting the ceiling in. Well, 15 1/4-inch aluminum dowels with the sledgehammer has made the ceiling happen. So that combined with L brackets up on top covered by the carpet and screws into the side should make it strong enough. Trimmed it off. Bed is coming along, or not bed, but ceiling for the bed. How's it coming along?
Is what coming along, sir? Oh, it's coming along good. It's starting to adhere to the surface of bondage and stuff.
Got the second layer of fiberglass laid down on the seams, and in here on the bend. Around the edges, right here, and we're getting there. Right, fiberglass resin should be above around 60 to 75 degrees, so I'm putting it in the sun to warm it up. I'm gonna sand down all these edges of the fiberglass, sand that down, make it all smooth, and then put another layer in this gap that's wider than the original application that I put on there to tie it in. Keep widening it out, put on multiple layers, and then I'm gonna fiberglass this whole thing to tie it together and get that wood waterproof. So that's the next step. Also, I would suggest, instead of getting the strand fiberglass, I'd suggest getting the fiberglass cloth, which is a lot easier to work with. It doesn't clump up in the resin, and a lot more foldable. That's the last of the fiberglass. The roof, the ceiling, we are done with fiberglass. And at this point, it's just sanding, you know, inconsistencies like this, getting all that out of there, and then sanding the whole Flippac, priming it, and rolling it with some marine grade paint. Probably to match the truck, a matte dark gray. And then wash the canvas with some Wink rust stain remover. So I've sanded all of the Flippac. I'm going to spray it off with a compressor, some air, and then I'm going to pressure spray it with a hose. And I'm going to let it completely dry, and then I'm going to tape it all up and start painting. One of the most tedious parts about this whole process is taping, besides sanding, I suppose, but taping the outer border of all the fixtures, getting ready to paint. Have all the windows and fixtures taped, plasticked, and we're ready to spray. Originally, I sprayed it with a dark gray, which turned out to be a dark blue, so that didn't work too well. Rolling it with a marine grade paint is so much better. Well, I can say I can't be more happy with this build. A lot of people laughed at me when, well, maybe not laughed at me, but 8-foot camper, 5.5-foot camper. Ready for venturing.